I'm Coinyeezy, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the REKT podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bunchu Betts. I am here with another host, Crypto Chamber, and sadly, we have a third host that's not with us tonight because we had some technical microphone issues. Cynthia Wood will be joining us as our third host. So we have a very special guest tonight as well. You may know him from some of the more popular projects he's been working on, such as Honey Miner, Pepe Dap, Crypto Aquarium, and Whale Reports. So we have a very special guest at Coinyeezy with us. Coinyeezy, how are you?
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we really appreciate you being the first ever guest on our first ever podcast. So the way we're going to start this off is we'll do a little roundtable introduction of each of us. So let's just go around the horn here and, introduce ourselves, projects that how we got into crypto and things like that. Chamber, we'll start with you.
Well, pretty much, I guess you would classify me as the REKT poster boy. I got in very late 2017, towards the end of November. Saw an amazing run up through mid-December. Thought I was a complete and utter genius. And subsequently got REKT thereafter. And have been learning and been humbled ever since. So waiting for that second bull run to come for me.
We were talking pre-show. Tell the audience what you got shilled to get you into crypto.
Ooh, the mother of all shills. I had a coworker introduce me to BitConnect, which he was very, very enamored with.
Was his name Carlos Matos?
It was Carlos Matos. Apparently he's very popular these days.
REKT.
Very REKT. Was very excited about it. I kind of saw through it, sort of, kind of. Didn't really make any investment in it, but watched him get very wrecked in I guess it would have been the end of January.
Poor guy.
But I bought the most awful shit coins. Got involved with Purge and Tron and awful ICOs, and I tell you, the spring has been a spring of learning for me. So it's been good.
That's a good story, though. So for those listening, Chamber is actually the brainchild behind the whole REKT concept, and you can see why based on that story.
Absolutely. I was going to say my favorite part, I listen to most of the crypto podcasts. My favorite part is listening to the stories from the quote-unquote OGs. And how they first got started, and all the OGs today seem to have got wrecked at some point, so it gives me a little bit of hope. So my thought was to give a little bit of hope to everybody else.
Awesome. So speaking of OGs, we have Coinyeezy here. Coinyeezy, tell us a little bit about how you got started in crypto, where you are today, and things like that.
Yeah, so I would say, to be fair, I started hearing about Bitcoin in 2012. I actually heard it at a college party. I was at my university with some friends, and somebody had like a lighter or something, and it said something about Bitcoins or whatever, and I started asking a few questions. Obviously didn't know what the heck it was at the time. Kind of went back to the drawing board and researched a little bit and realized really quickly that it's this basically PayPal with computers and not humans, and found that pretty fascinating, and kind of went down the rabbit hole from there and started getting more involved with things like mining and kind of understanding what the blockchain and the Bitcoin network was. And that evolved into even starting some businesses based on the blockchain or about cryptocurrency in general.
Awesome. So That brings us to kind of where you are today. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing today in the space. Obviously, I think when I got into the space, you were actually one of the first people that I got in contact with because we share a mutual friend. And I remember at the time, I think you had, I don't know, 4,000 followers on Twitter, and today you are almost at 20K, and you are one of the biggest influencers in the space. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and how you came to be.
Yeah. So Bitcoin, or rather, Twitter isn't really my strong suit, I would say, but something I've learned to love through crypto and kind of understanding, like, this social experiment that Twitter is, especially when you're a pseudonym or like these meme accounts, right? So it's been a pretty fun experience in itself. But currently, I spend most of my time really trying to build businesses. I got a handful of them kind of under my belt in the last 2 or 3 years. Whale Reports being one of them, which is the blog site that we all kind of come together and collaborate on. CoinDex app, it's a portfolio app. Honey Miner, which is a recent project that I really enjoy. It's a consumer mining app that you basically go to honeyminer.com and download it, and there you are. Your computer's a miner, right? So I've been working on that stuff, digital collectible space, Pepe Dap, and just really spending as much time as I possibly can trying to build companies and businesses in the space and kind of grow not just my knowledge, but actually build things that people enjoy.
Yeah, that's awesome. You definitely have your hands in a lot of things. How do you manage all of that?
I got to say it's difficult, but mostly I'm working with a lot of people that are really motivated. So the core piece to all of these experiments are that the team is all aligned with incentive and a common goal, and it's fast moving. And I think that it's really a lot to do with the people I'm working with at the moment, like Crypto Randy Marsh, for example. He's a great guy to collaborate with. He's fast moving, really creative. And I've actually started quite a few projects with him in the last year. So yeah, it's about the people,
You guys are like the crypto dynamic duo out there lately. So you guys are on a lot of projects together. So shout out Crypto Randy Marsh. Do you have a favorite one that you're working on now?
It's Pepe Dap and Honey Miner are really the two pieces. I really love that Pepe Dap has the digital collectible space. We're kind of working on this idea of a semi-fungible standard with ERC 420 and understanding like how to build a game layer on top of these assets, right? That's going to be a really cool experiment. And I'm really excited to kind of see where it is in the next 3-6 months, a year. And with Honey Miner, it's just such a challenge from the customer support and operational perspective to build a miner. I mean, it's a lot of development work. So we have a really talented development customer support team, and our product, it's only been live for a couple of weeks. We're kind of still in this beta phase, and it's kept me so busy, but I really, really enjoy that. And I really think it's quite unique because it's really a consumer-friendly mining app, and maybe the most at this point when it comes to just getting set up and you're a miner, right? So that's a pretty cool thing to be working on.
Yeah, definitely. I can say with certainty that I own probably far too many Pepes. I think, Chamber, you might also own some Pepes.
I'm a Pepe card baby whale.
I can see.
I'm a big fan.
I see Cynthia. Cynthia's hanging out with us on our hangout, even though she's not mic'd up. But I think she just waved her hands that she also owns some Pepes. I own way too many of these things, but they're really fun. I'm really into the whole potential of the art on the blockchain and the collectibles aspect of it. I got to also say that I think I'm actually running Honey Miner on my laptop as we do this recording. So that's pretty cool too. It's one of those things where it's like 2 clicks, anybody could do it. Your grandmother could be a miner. It's pretty cool. I did want to ask you, you mentioned before about Twitter and kind of, being a meme account. What is that like? I mean, you're a frog. So how does that work?
Really, I'm a human, but obviously, most people, I think, when they hear Coinyeezy, they're thinking a frog in their head, right? But it's kind of deep, actually. How I started this, I originally had my personal account and was following people like Vitalik and maybe like Jimmy Song and people like that in the earlier days. I don't know, maybe 2013 or something. And I try to interact with people from time to time, and I found that like using my personal account, that was just difficult. Like there's kind of a prejudice associated with the way you look and advertise yourself, right? And I think in like a year or two ago, I started this account and kind of just followed people. Wasn't super active at first, just kind of getting a feel. Saw that there was really this growing crypto kind of trader, miner, kind of renegade Twitter community that was going on, where it's really like uncensored, like say what you want, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of, and I just kind of developed this this brand like the Coinyeezy, which is related to, if you guys remember, a Kanye West coin came out, and it kind of was like based off the South Park gay fish and everything, and it was a really funny first
great
kind
episode.
Of Doge, and then Kanye West was like another meme coin that came out, right? And these are actually really great awareness points for crypto and Bitcoin, I think, actually in retrospect. But I just kind of fell into, well, I can create this kind of mask that allows me to say and do and tell these jokes that maybe my personal account just like couldn't really get away with. And it's a really now for me like this channel of like open-mindedness and creativity and trying to kind of connect with other intellectuals and things like that. Twitter is really great for that.
Yeah, and it's also great for shit posting, which is basically what I use it for. So.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I'm guilty in that department.
I always joke that, you know, when the stuff I do for whale reports is like pickup lines, and if cryptos were cereals and the periodic table, I'm like, yeah, I'm basically the Teen Cosmo beat writer of the whale report. So
that stuff is so legit, though.
There she is. There she
I'm
is.
here.
So we might have fixed our technical difficulties.
I'm pretty sure that your articles get the most clicks.
Well, you know, I ain't here to brag, but
and yes, cool. Hey, that's me tuning in, Cynthia Wood. I finally got my mic to work.
Cynthia, why don't you introduce yourself quickly?
I'm Women of Crypto on Twitter, and now I'm here. I'm a content creator for Whale Reports. I have my own startup that I'm working on. I am me. Sweet. And now I'm here.
I'm the woman of Crypto Aquarium, right?
I'm the queen of the Crypto Aquarium. I'm the queen.
Aquarium queen. I like it.
Yeah, I have a sticker, guys, so it's legit.
That's awesome. So we wouldn't be the REKT podcast if we didn't talk about some of your most REKT crypto stories, Coinyeezy. So come on, share with us some of your biggest crypto REKTs since you've been involved in the space.
Oh man. Well, you know, I gotta like disclaim that I'm not really like a trader. I don't really try to advertise that I'm like a trader on the markets, right? So I guess I don't share the same REKTness that some people could getting into some of these token markets. But I think probably my most REKT moment looking back on it was knowing about Bitcoin and not buying it, right? But even beyond that, I started getting it, or I knew about Bitcoin in 2012, and you know, at that point it was like they were $40 or something, I remember, and you just like simply wish you could have bought more. That's like the most REKT you really could be. But even beyond that, I started getting into mining pretty early, and I really didn't have any business getting into it. I didn't really know a lot about computers and mining, or even how this stuff really worked, but I saw all these other cryptocurrencies popping up, and I think on Bitcoin Talk I read about this idea of mining, and some people were doing it for things like Ethereum or like I think really early Dogecoin, Litecoin, Peercoin, stuff like that. So I was with my buddy that I was running this software development company for the last few years, and we were kind of early on and had our office. We set up a miner there, and we let this thing run for a while. We were mining Litecoin, if I remember, and after some time, our colleagues were getting really annoyed because it was really, really hot and noisy in the office, right? And so we eventually had to like dismember this beautiful machine. I still have pictures of it, and had to actually like start selling the parts. And I think that was the biggest REKT moment. It was like I got rid of the miner, and really, if I would have been running that thing for the next 2 years, it would have been a really profitable endeavor, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I was really ahead of myself at that point to not realize the value of it.
You could
and even selling the hardware was like cheaper now. I could have waited a year and sold the hardware for twice the amount, right? Because
oh god,
the GPU,
that's painful.
Yeah, it really hurt to think about that. But it was a cool learning experience because I'm into mining now, obviously with like Honey Miner. It's a consumer mining product, and that was a huge learning experience for me. So I got a little bit wrecked. Could have done a lot better financially, but I learned a lot instead.
Think about how much you could have dumped on Charlie Lee before he dumped on everybody else.
True.
Yeah, Charlie Lee would have been holding your bags.
What's the show that people are always showing they're quoting from, that he talks about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies all the time?
He's
you guys know what I'm
it's like
talking
the
about?
Wonderful Crypto Friends. I think he has a podcast with
No, the show on TV, the series where the guys.
Oh, Silicon Valley.
So yeah, Silicon Valley. You talking about mining in your office reminds me of Silicon Valley.
That's funny. So the mining story, I got into mining this past year too, and I was doing well in the bull market, and so me and a buddy and my brother and my dad, actually, my dad is a miner, and so we cashed out some of our.
Wait a second, your
profits.
dad is a miner.
Yeah, so
we
got
That's
my dad.
Awesome.
We got my dad into mining with us. So he went in on our giant rig. So we have a 54 GPU mining rig that we set up in our buddy's garage, and it just reminded me when you said that the office was hot and people were annoyed. So we have this in his garage, and first of all, his wife wants to kill us. His garage is 1,000 degrees, and not only that, in order to keep the vent out, to vent the air out, he's got to keep his garage door open, like probably about a foot crack, and he's got like these fans blowing in, and his neighbors, it's such an eyesore to them that they called the homeowners association.
No.
and so we have to figure out how we're going to redo the setup there so he can actually close his garage. But it reminded me of that because you said that it was hot in the office and stuff. So
yeah, he's getting wrecked right now with that. You got to find some.
We're all getting wrecked, and then we started.
Facility.
Yeah, then we started mining Ethereum at, I don't know, $1,000, and so everything that we've had since then has just gone down in value. So mining wrecked on that one, and now I just subscribe to the Church of @Crypto Christopher Walken. So I'm just gonna mine whatever he mines. So.
Christopher Walken's got it going on.
Yeah.
He's killing it, really is.
Anybody else want to share a crypto wrecked before we move on?
I gotta save mine for more episodes. They're too good. They're too good.
All right, good. So keeping on with the wreck theme, we got your biggest crypto wrecks, Coinyeezy. What's one of your biggest real life wrecks? Let the audience really get to know you.
Oh man. Well, there's too many to count, I would say. That's a really good question. I think it would have to be the time when I was applying for university. I went to Purdue in Indiana, and
Boiler
it's
up.
the Boiler Up, right? It's a kind of the land of cargo shorts and pretty nerdy school, pretty tough to get into. A really great school though, and I had growing up, I lived close to it, and I always wanted to go there. And I applied when I was applying for colleges. Of course, Purdue was my first. And I applied there and maybe a couple other places, and I got my letter back and it said no. I applied, I think, for like the School of Science or something. And I got to say that was probably my most like wrecked moment of my young life, right? I just assumed that I was getting in, and kind of had to deal with that for a while. And long story short, I actually reapplied, wrote a letter to like the admission council or whatever, and kind of told them my story and what I was trying to do, and I got in. And it was kind of last second. Cool. Even I was like right on the cusp of accepting like another school. I was like, oh man, am I going to go to IU? Am I going to have to go to Ball State? Like I couldn't live with myself, right? I had this in my head already, and so I was pretty wrecked. I mean, really emotionally, that was a tough time, and I think it actually really a lot of stuff added up after that, right, through Purdue, and even leading into the whole Bitcoin world. Being in West Lafayette, kind of being around these engineering-minded people, computer science people, and I started businesses and websites, and then eventually software, and kind of started doing this cryptocurrency stuff in the probably last 4 years or so, more seriously as a business, right? So I was really wrecked, and I could have been even more wrecked, but I was lucky enough that they accepted me. and it all worked out.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's an awesome story that you wrote in and they accepted you after the fact. I mean, I think you said that you learned about Bitcoin at like a college party, no?
Yeah, that's right. I learned about Bitcoin at a party. I was also in a fraternity. I wasn't really involved, but it was something I tried out, and I made some friends through that. And I went to a friend's party, and his brother had started a Bitcoin related business, and he was at the party as well. And I kind of, like I said, I heard about it at this party. Didn't really know what the heck it meant. My friends were kind of just like, they were excited about it, but I don't think anybody really knew what Bitcoin was. And I took that home with me, and
that's
obviously
crazy to think
changed my life.
To think that maybe if you didn't go to Purdue, you either may have not been in the space you are now, or it would have taken you much longer to get there. So that's definitely pretty interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing your real life, Rekt. We're gonna kick it over to Chamber. So like I said before, Chamber's been the brainchild behind the theory of the REKT podcast. So he created a REKT test for you. So he's got some questions for you that he's going to ask to see, if we can predict your future level of REKTness. So Chamber, take it away.
Yeah. So basically what we want to know is, during the next bull run, how likely are you to get wrecked again? So it's a 10 question survey. Basically, you 1 out of 10, you get a 10% chance, and
you will be judged on your answers.
You will be judged.
I can imagine.
So 9 out of 10, you're 90% likely. So question 1, is your portfolio currently more than 85% alts?
Absolutely not. No.
Very good. All right. So that's good.
You're off to a good start.
Very good start. On the other hand,
90% Bitcoin.
There you go.
Like
all right.
So far, I am very wrecked. Do you use Twitter without night mode?
Rarely.
Oh,
Sometimes.
Okay,
see, I didn't even know Twitter had a night mode.
Dark mode.
I don't use it. I never do. I used it once just to see what it was.
Gotta use night mode.
I use Telegram night mode, but I don't use. I didn't even know Twitter had a night mode.
Everything night mode.
So I'm officially wrecked on that answer, I guess.
Now you mentioned you don't do too many trades. This is a BitMEX related question. Do you use more than 3 times leverage when on BitMEX?
When on BitMEX, it's 100 times, or that's it.
That's it, one way or the highway. All right.
Go big or go home.
100 times leverage or GFY. That's it.
That's right.
Do you own any Verge?
No.
Very good. That's the right answer.
Yeezy does not pay for porn.
I don't need that. I don't need Purge. I don't need porn.
That's a great meme. Right. Yeezy does not pay for porn. Needs to be a thing.
Any Tron?
No Tron. No Verge.
2 for 2. Those are
no
good
Ripple.
Answers. No Ripple either. Good. Do you ever use the term Bitcoin Core?
Yeah, Bitcoin Core is technically the code implementation, right, of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin as the currcy or network.
You're dropping knowledge bombs on us. Come on.
So Bitcoin Core.
Yeezy being politically correct.
There's also like that whole political battle of what Bitcoin Core is with Bitcoin Cash, right? But I'm going off of my instincts here. I'm pretty sure that Bitcoin Core is actually the code implementation of Bitcoin.
Fair enough.
So he just wrecked the wrecker.
I was going to say, when referring to Bitcoin, we refer to it as Bitcoin and not Bitcoin Core?
Bitcoin.
As a rule?
Yes. I refer to it as Bitcoin.
Yeah, of course. Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
If I'm talking to a Bcasher.
Fair enough. Especially at a Bcasher, right? Is Cryptopia in your top 3 exchanges?
Cryptopia. No, I don't really. I don't really touch. I guess I'm a little bit extreme in this way. I don't really touch like exchanges. So.
Well, that's one way to not get wrecked.
What I like is CryptoBridge. I like CryptoBridge. It's pretty cool, like using kind of this decentralized method, and it's using graphene, which is the same as Steemits blockchain. So it's kind of a cool experiment there. So I kind of like that one, but
I've been hearing a lot more about that one lately.
Cryptopia, though, I gotta say, is like definitely my first like deep dive shitcoin exploration. I mean, it's like a
Hence the
dirty
REKT.
pond, right?
It's so good though. It's so
It's
dirty
so
good.
good, guys. I have made actually some really good money on Cryptopia in the past.
100%.
I can't deny it. So
100%.
you know,
A dirty
yeah,
pond
I think
is
it
a
trades
great way
like
to describe it.
Mothership. I know some of the guys there that founded Mothership.
Mothership.
It's a decentralized exchange. I think it's traded on Cryptopia. So that, I remember following them pretty early and keeping up with Cryptopia because of that.
And for the record, these are all questions that I say yes to. So like I'm 100% REKT.
Chamber is definitely Rick.
I am a degenerate. Did you buy the BitConnect coin bottom?
I've never even, I didn't even know what BitConnect was until it died, basically. So
BitConnect.
that's a hard no.
For the record, it is at a great buying opportunity. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
I looked at the history today. And it was up at like $420 at its tippy top.
Crazy.
And it's
crazy.
less than $1 right now. It's like
That's
40
what-
cents.
You
That's
gotta
when
stay
Chamber
away.
got
You
showed.
gotta stay away.
Holy
It's
shit!
dead.
Can you imagine
It's
buying the
dead.
top in that? God.
Chamber,
Sad.
if it ever comes back, you have
Buddy,
to get.
I'm going to be a whale.
If it ever hits all-time highs, you have to, and you got to commit to it right now. I'm putting you on the
Rise from
spot.
the dead.
If it hits all-time highs, you have to get a Carlos Matos tattoo.
100%. 100%. Done.
Oh my
I think
God.
you're in
Alright.
the clear, though.
Question
Yeah,
9.
I think so too.
Question 9. Do you dream of owning a Lamborghini?
No,
I'm
not
with,
really.
I'm really with you on that one. I'm not
Me
a big
too.
Lambo guy.
So Yeezy, what
maybe
is
like
your?
something douchey like a Mercedes G-Wagon or something.
I was gonna
right?
say,
Like,
what's your dream
maxed
car
out.
then? Yeah, what's your
One
dream
of those
car?
one of those cars you could take out into like the Siberian winter as well as like the Arabian desert. I want one of those, right? Something hardcore, something fast, something probably pretty inefficient. If I'm really gonna spend, maybe a Tesla. We go one way or the other.
That
Sounds
Elon Moist.
Moist.
And the
Oh,
final
Lord.
question is 2FA too much hassle?
Absolutely not.
Nothing
I
good,
recommend you use a third-party app like Authy or something. Don't use
sure.
your SMS text message. I think people are catching on to that, but that's actually kind of a vulnerable scenario to be in. But two-factor is a great habit to be in.
Chamber,
Awesome.
when I saw that question on your list, I was baffled that there actually might be people that don't use it.
There have to be people.
There
that do.
definitely
I just did a poll on Twitter. There's like 60% of people keep their Bitcoin on exchanges, or crypto on
No.
exchanges. So
No.
you got that.
How is he
going,
supposed
too.
to get those trades in?
God,
Standards.
that's incredible.
I mean, it's true. I mean, I think it depends. That one is tricky to me because it depends on how much you're talking about. Like if you're trying to trade and you need, you obviously need some Bitcoin on there. But if you're talking large sums of money, that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so Chamber, how do you do? What was the score?
Honestly, I think he got 3 out of 10. Like
that's pretty good.
That's very good.
So Yeezy does not pay for porn, and he is not wrecked.
Yeah,
He is
not
not
love it.
wrecked. He is not right.
I guess I'm as wrecked as my exposure to Bitcoin, to be
That's
fair.
true. Hey, that's a good place to be because eventually,
Absolutely.
we all kind of believe in that vision here too.
Definitely. It's the mothership, right, of cryptocurrency. And I think there's a big future with Bitcoin in particular. So it's if you're going to be in crypto, that's the safest place if there's such thing.
All right, so we got you on record saying that you believe that Bitcoin is the future. Now we're going to go into the purge. If you could purge any crypto project, what would it be and why? So obviously Bitcoin wouldn't be it. By the way, before you answer this, I got to give a shout out to @FatherOfBags who tweeted this, and I asked him if we could use this for the show. He's our editor at Whale Reports, so shout out Father of Bags.
He's awesome. What's
yeah,
up, Father of Bags?
He's dope. We'll probably have him on the
Shout
show at some point. But so yeah, what would be your crypto purge?
I got to say probably Verge. I mean, just use Monero or
Purge,
Haven
the
or,
Verge.
or Zcash or
for
whatever,
sure.
right? Zcoin, Pivx. There's a whole list. So
Verge.
yeah, Verge. It's out. See ya.
Purge the Verge. All right, that's awesome. So we're going to kick off our REKT news segment. So how this is going to work, we each have a news topic that we're going to talk about, and we'll have reactions from around the team here. So Cynthia, you want to start it out with yours?
I do. I was about to ask you if I could go first because I need to go refill my vino. So let's get my news on, and then I'll be back.
Awesome.
Okay, so first, the REKT news that everybody on Twitter has been talking about today is Peepcoin.
What is it?
You guys, Peepcoin.
Peepcoin.
PCN?
Peepcoin. PCN. Come on.
Weird.
I had never heard of it either, Yeez. So
I haven't either.
okay, well, apparently there was a bunch of, the influencers on Twitter that were shilling it previously.
It's lighting up Twitter today.
Yeah, well, okay, so last week, DApps, or DApps, whatever this coin is, announced that Peepcoin was going to Cryptopia. They were planning on this swap. For everybody that owned Peepcoin, it was going to swap 1-to-1 with the DApps coin. Okay, well, yesterday, apparently, the DApps guys found out that there were 7 active wallets holding a majority of their supply, something like 5 billion, which was like 12-13% of the total supply. And these weren't just cold, non-active wallets. They were staking, buying, and selling, and they had proof that they had manipulated the price. So they said, never mind, we are not doing the swap at all. And the price just tanked on Peepcoin. I mean, tanked. And everybody was talking about it on Twitter. Their community on Telegram and Discord was blowing up. So DApps comes out and says, never mind, we're not canceling the swap. We're going to do an airdrop. So all of these people had already sold and tanked the price, which is the perfect opportunity for these guys to go back and buy some more Peepcoin super cheap, let the price rise back up, and then, now there's an airdrop again.
Then do the airdrop.
Yeah.
So was it
economics?
People are saying, it was just poorly executed. There was no scam. Yeah, you never know. You never know. And one of those huge wallets belonged to one of their old developers who was manipulating the price. He's not even currently working on the project, so it doesn't look good at all.
So was it an exit scam? Because I saw everybody on Twitter saying exit scam today, and I did.
Right, and I don't think that was true. I don't think it was a quote exit scam, but definitely some fishy stuff going on, especially to announce that no, we're not doing the swap, and the price just absolutely tanked. And then they decided a couple hours later, we're just going to do an airdrop.
I gotta say, I feel pretty good about myself because this is something I would definitely just go all in on. I didn't put a.
You really are REKT, Chamber.
You're
a degenerate.
I'm getting better.
No, he's learning.
I wasn't even affected by this issue, so I feel good about myself. It was a good day.
Well,
today.
What's his name? David Gostein, or however you say his name, apparently was one of the guys that was shilling it, and so everybody was posting screenshots of him shilling it, and he's saying, "Oh, this is a great time to buy. It's dumped." And then the news came out about, they're not doing the swap. And so it just, that guy I don't know anything about him to say whether he's a scammer or not, but he already has a bad name. And then this comes out.
Didn't they add him to the OCN, as an advisor? And
he's on a bunch of shit as an advisor.
Yeah, and then got kicked off a bunch of them, I think, in the
Yeah,
last couple
I
of weeks.
don't
So,
know.
no,
I don't know.
He's got a stink on him, I think.
A lot of people. He's got a bad rap, but I don't really know anything personally, so.
Yeezy, you have anything to add to this story? I know you're not a shitcoin connoisseur like Chamber.
Get out. Stay away. That's my advice. I highly recommend it.
Well,
and it's called Peepcoin. Are you going to really invest your life savings into Peepcoin? Come on.
It's for the peeps.
That's awesome. All right, Chamber, what's your story?
Well, Eos is in the news again today. They seem to be in the news a lot lately. Apparently, through the wallet verifications, turns out their main wallet only has 100,000 Ether left in it. This was a project that accumulated about $4 billion. I think as of right now, that 100,000 ETH would be about 45 million, which would put them at about less than 2% of their $4 billion.
That's crazy.
But I think the bigger story is Dan Larimer came out and said is proposing a change to the EOS Constitution. Apparently EOS has this constitution on the rules of voting within the EOS platform, and it took them a bunch of time. I think it took them a few weeks to get their mainnet on. They launched their mainnet without a testnet, and I think they needed a 15% kind of a approval through the voting system. and it took a long time. So he went on record saying the current constitution is not wise. So for those EOS holders, there might be some positive changes coming. I held EOS at one point. I did sell, almost the top on it, so I felt pretty good about that one.
Good job, man.
But they get a lot of shade. There's two camps on it for sure. I'm open. I don't hate on EOS too much. I think they got some stuff to do with all that money. But I'm hesitant, positively hesitant right now.
I own a lot of EOS, so
you do.
I'm back from my wine trip, guys. Sorry, I just walked in. I am not REKT.
Wait, so you do?
Are you talking about the ETH dump today?
Yeah, you do own a lot, or you did own a lot?
No, I currently still do.
So, what are your thoughts on the whole issue?
Well, I just feel like they don't need to hold any Ether anymore. So who cares if they're dumping it?
That's true, I guess.
I'm sure these, a lot of these ICOs are dumping, but they're liquidating their Ethereum raised instantly, right? So there are
they
some
don't need it anymore. They have their own platform. It's a means of fundraising. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but whatever.
So what do you think? What do you think that effect is going to have on the overall situation for Ethereum, long-term output? If all these ICOs are raising money through Ethereum, then they have all this Ethereum. They like you said, liquidate it, obviously driving some prices down for Ethereum. But I mean, how do you think that plays out for Ethereum long-term?
I think it doesn't mean it's just short-term, because the Ethereum is something that people can build on. It has things built on it. Yeah, sure, maybe things like PepeDApp and CryptoKitties, but it exists. And there's other things out there, obviously, that have a better use case as far as the enterprise world goes. But it doesn't matter. It's the most liquid. It's the brand name has so much value. If you're going to build some kind of a decentralized application, you're not building it on Tezos or EOS or whatever is out there, right? So I think it's really just short-term, speculative plays if you're going into EOS or whatever. And I just don't see how they have the development and human resources to actually build something that's really going to make a difference. But I mean, I'm all for these projects, the variety, the diversity. I think that it's just bringing a lot of human capital and development in general, but most of it's just burn, right? These projects I think are just going to burn out, and there'll be these real use cases like Ethereum.
The frog has spoken. It's wise words from the frog.
I think it's two different things as well. With EOS, I think it's more enterprise blockchain. It's not as decentralized as Ethereum is, and so it's really two different markets that you're looking at. And like Yeezy said, it's short term, it's speculative, and I don't think, EOS dumping their Ether, it was because they migrated to their own platform. Not all of these huge ICOs are going to migrate to new platforms. They're going to stay Ethereum based. So,
Good point. Awesome. So my story, it's a little old at this point, but I feel like it's something we should talk about. Is John Mcafee. Obviously, we've all seen or heard what he's been up to this week. So 5 days ago now, he sent a tweet that said, "I apologize for my 3-day absence, but I was unconscious for 2 days at the Vidant Medical Center in North Carolina and just woke up. My enemies managed to spike something that I ingested. However, I am more difficult to kill than anyone can possibly imagine. I am back." So then he followed that up with some tweets from the hospital bed, and he did some videos from the hospital bed, and then he even further came out and he posted a picture of some dude on the motorcycle. Oh, actually, before that, he said, "And for those who did this, you will soon understand the meaning of wrath. I know exactly who you are, and you'd better be gone." Then he posted that picture of that dude on the Suzuki motorcycle and said, $5,000 reward for anyone who could provide the full name, address, and phone number of this man. No questions asked. Your confidentiality is assured. DM me. One thing
sounds
I think
like a hit.
It's certainly a hit.
It's a straight up hit.
That's a straight up hit. But I think what's more funny is he says, I know exactly who you are. I know who you are that did this. And then in the next tweet, he goes, please somebody find out who this person
somebody
is.
find him.
So my question is, who's more wrecked? Was it Mcafee, or is it the guy on the Suzuki motorcycle?
Suzuki's more
gonna be
wrecked. I mean, that's insane.
McAfee, his persona is wrecked. McAfee just is a wrecked person in general.
He's like 80. He's just wrecked.
Okay, first of all, I don't think anybody poisoned him. Okay, I think he just did too much blow one night and they had to, resuscitate him or something. The guy's like 90 and lives this crazy lifestyle.
He looks like he's 45.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't look 90.
He looks like he's like a corpse, guys.
Wait, how old is he actually? Is he really like 80?
Yeah, he's older.
Old.
He's a grandfather.
78 or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he looks. If I look like that at his age, I will be more than happy to take that.
I'm with you, Chamber. I think he looks good for a man who lives on the
He's
edge.
72.
Guys, he looks jaundiced 24/7.
What a life.
What
a life.
Jaundice, John?
No, JAUNDICE. Like when your liver is not functioning properly and you're yellow.
I have two follow-up questions.
Yes.
A, why are we not calling this an assassination attempt? and two, I think we got to call him Crypto Rasputin by this point. I mean, this guy is you can't kill him. You can't kill the guy. The guy's been trying.
Have
to
you
kill
guys seen
himself.
his documentary on Netflix?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
It's insane. Insane.
I don't know if you can call it an assassination attempt if he's not president yet.
Oh, really? You can't. Like, it's not an assassination attempt if you just kind of kill anybody. Like.
Oh, you mean him on the Suzuki guy? Yeah, definitely.
No. I mean the poisoning.
Oh.
I didn't realize assassination was only for presidents or.
No, too much party,
state.
man. He's tripping. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get where his enemies are coming from at this point.
Who's your vote for in 2020? Is it going to be Coinyeezy, Randy Marsh for president ticket, or is it going to be John McAfee and whoever he runs with?
Easy Randy 2020.
Easy Randy 2020.
No
That's got my vote.
All day.
Awesome.
Easy win.
All right, cool. So that goes for our news. So we did have a little. We're going to try to do a REKT fantasy league for all of our guests, ourselves, and our listeners as well. So we're going to try to set up the thing for the listeners. But what we want to do for you, since this is our first episode, we want you to try to pick 3 projects or three coins. It could be anything out there that you think are going to perform well over the next month, and we're going to track your wreckness.
Next month, okay.
Yeah. We can go a little longer. Next couple months is fine.
Let's see. Bitcoin, obvious.
All right.
Let's go with Monero.
Oh, okay.
I think this fungibility play is big. Privacy is big. There'll be a lot more advancements as far as like being able to choose kind of anonymous channels for payment, whether it's on Bitcoin or using things like Monero or Haven or things like that. And my third would be Ravencoin. I really like their team.
Raven.
They've got a lot of development resources. They're working on doing some like security tokens basically. And I think their roadmap's going to start kicking some stuff out here in the next couple months.
You were mining that for a long time, right?
I was pretty early on the Ravencoin train. I think I was right there with the Genesis block and everything, and I just think it's a pretty cool project. It's obviously backed by people like Patrick Byrne, the CEO of Overstock, which is now creating or have created T0, which is a whole thing in itself, kind of like the blockchain meets Wall Street, NYSE trading stock markets, right? So it's a pretty well backed, like philosophically, and of course, like Overstock and Medici Ventures and Bruce Fenton and Tron Black, they're really experienced entrepreneurs and they staff people. They have a public company's backing to do that, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
I really like Ravencoin. I'm not sure how it does in the next month, but I guess if I'm picking one, that's going to be it.
Well, so we haven't quite decided how we're going to track them yet, but we'll log those down as your picks. So
right
Coinyeezy's got Bitcoin, Monero, and Raven for his first 3 picks here. So
I know what my bags are going to be.
Yeah,
I'm buying some of that stuff right now.
Chambers all in on Raven right now. He's not paying attention. He's actually clicking around trying to purchase.
Market buy. Yeezy shills it.
Market buy Raven.
The project block, right?
So awesome. So this point, we're going to kind of just go back into your projects, whatever you want to talk about. Before we get into your specific projects that you want to talk about, I do have to ask you, because I saw it on Twitter all week about the Satoshi time traveler story and the quantum computing. So I know you dove deep into that rabbit hole. So I want to give you a chance to kind of tell everybody, because I got to tell you, I read a million things on it. My little plebe REKT brain does not understand it.
Yeah, thank you for that, Yeezy, because I lost so much sleep diving down that rabbit hole. I mean, I fell deep.
Yeah, I think for whoever's listening, like, this is really related to this hash that was mined. It's long story short, it's like the 21E800, right? This number became like a big mystery on Twitter, and apparently after you kind of do some research, like the time travel stuff and Satoshi kind of, being able to transcend time and space there's a fun aspect of this thought, but apparently what it looks like is that somebody was able to mine this, I guess, vanity hash. Like, it's a hash that they wanted it to look a certain way. In this case, the 21E800 is like the first 5-6 digits, right? And what that kind of tells us is that somebody was able to, they're building something on Bitcoin that's able to kind of mine things that are really high difficulty and that are beyond what the network demands today. So they were able to mine this hash that I think it's like a 300-year probability of it being just mined, randomly, right? So that obviously triggered my interest, and I kind of dove in, and you found out that this guy, Andrew DeSantis, a pretty kind of known as a Mad Hatter type, and specifically invests a lot of his time and resource and entrepreneurial, development into Bitcoin and building on top of it. And what it looks like is that at some way they're using Bitcoin, kind of building a computational engine on top of Bitcoin. So like the computer is derived in Bitcoin, and it's able to do things, obviously is a lot more, maybe not efficient, but more powerful in general, right? And so these guys figured out how to do this. I'm not sure of the details. Obviously, it's not something that's really public. But if you dive in enough, you start to realize that they're doing something there that's really special. They're doing it with Bitcoin. It seems like they're using Twitter as like an oracle for, like, whether it's indexing the information and sourcing it from Twitter, using Twitter as some kind of like brain function to this, right? If you follow DeSantis and this guy Mark Wilcox on Twitter, you can, like, they have all this meta, like, inside kind of chatter, right? And they're interacting with the Twitter bot of Dios, Dios.org, I think, or Dios.org, and that stands for like decentralized operating system, and ironically, or maybe on purpose, is related to Andrew DeSantis's name. So it all kind of comes from like this idea of somebody had built a quasi-quantum computer or something of that nature that was able to create this vanity hash that really freaked people out, right? Yeah. Because they're like, wow, this is something that's pretty improbable, and in a sense, they kind of communicated with the world by printing that hash.
So what do you think? So what does it mean going forward? Like, what does that mean? For the future.
I mean, I think it brings to question what Bitcoin is. It's again, it really is a rabbit hole. Like, Bitcoin's known as a money, a store of value, kind of this censorship-resistant thing, and these guys are working to actually build like some kind of computation on Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin, in other words, can be considered this big computer, perhaps quantum computer. Again, I'm not an expert in like quantum computing, but I was able to get deep enough to start to understand like these guys are really doing something pretty special, and at least in an experimental phase, right? And I've seen them do some tests on Twitter where it looked like DeSantis was actually calling, like he was talking to this Twitter account Dios, and asking it to go and fetch out like an Amber Alert, right, and find the location of this missing child or something. So by doing that, he said, like, I'll reward you 1 Bitcoin if you find that. So if you follow it deep enough,
that's crazy.
It looks like he's experimenting with this and using, looks like Twitter kind of as one of its data points to like source information and be able to talk to this computer. So think hive mind, think, kind of neural network, and
that is
and obviously
creepy.
yeah, it's pretty creepy, and that's why people are really excited about it. And I really got into that. I think I think Bitcoin has a really bright future from that perspective. I think that the way Bitcoin is perceived today isn't going to be how it'll be perceived in a couple of years from now. There's going to be things that really advance this, and I think particularly like using it as a way to derive your operating systems and to be able to know that like the computer you start up based on this operating system, it's completely like rid of all these other third parties, right? Mm-hmm. It's like it's clean, So that's what Bitcoin can do, and I'm not sure to what extent they're doing that, but it's really exciting to follow.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. I still am not sure I get all of it, but that's cool. That's
really
a better
computer.
That's a better explanation than I was trying to find on Twitter myself. So that's awesome. All right, man.
That story gave me a nosebleed, I think.
That's cool. So yeah, man, talk about your projects, what you got going on, anything you want the listeners to know about, what you're excited about, things like that.
Yeah, I think like I said, PepeDApp and Honeyminer are really where a lot of my time is spent. PepeDApp being a digital collectible, we're making these rare Pepe cards on Ethereum. We built up the marketplace on PepeDApp.com, and it's
Go
a pretty
buy my
cool project.
Pepe cards, please.
Yeah,
make me rich.
Me too.
Looks like everybody here is pretty into it. It's very addicting. It's we're working with a really talented artist, Crypto Draws, and he's kind of becoming this kind of moving. He has a traditional like art background and moving into the digital space, and I'd recognized that he's pretty talented and reached out to him when we started thinking about this project, Crypto Randy, Marsh, and I. And the inspiration kind of came from this counterparty asset or counterparty game, rare Pepe cards. There was like this original, and as we dove into the idea, I thought, wow, Ethereum offers like such a better user experience. More people are involved in Ethereum. It just has this bigger brand for a user base, and I obviously am really fascinated with how you can assign digital assets using the blockchain, things like art, things like your car title or your whatever, right? Yeah. So it's a much bigger thing. You can abstract from PepeDApp into much bigger things. Actually having like real art market with all kinds of art. So that part was that was a really fun experiment, and now we're kind of like focusing on updating and getting the website and marketplace in a little bit better place, kind of iterating on that and working on some stuff with analytics and integration with 721. Like I said, we built for ERC 420 is what we're calling it.
I was going to ask you about that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that interests me and how it's different from 721 and stuff. I think listeners would be interested in that.
Yeah, to put it simply, so 721, when you mint a Crypto Kitty, each one is its own. It's Crypto Kitty 1, Crypto Kitty 2, right? And then you can even get clever and say you wanted to create a card, and that card was going to have 100 issues of it. On a 721 standard, it'd be card 1, card 2 within this card class, right? So you could card 1A or whatever, card 1B. And you could actually like see like the first one created versus the 100th of this card.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is experiment with kind of masking that and saying, well, if we create a card that has 100 supply, whether it's the first card or the 100 card, there really is no distinction between them. So it's kind of this semi-fungible this play, right? And it was just an opportunity for us to experiment, and Paper Unicorn, the developer on the platform, he's just a really talented developer, but also like business-minded and motivated. So he and I and Randy kind of thought up how we'd go about this, and we could easily do 721 or make it a little hard on ourselves to do ERC 420, but we thought this experiment was unique enough and hadn't really been done that we should try it out. So that's what we did. And actually, we're seeing some interest to integrate with it. We're seeing interest from companies like Rarebits that are 721 marketplaces that actually want to invest in like doing a semi-fungible standard. So we have actively started even working with them to develop what this kind of maybe we have to iterate on ERC 420 to actually make it a real standard, but it's starting to evolve.
That's pretty
very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so PepeDApp is more than just the frog art. The art's beautiful and it's great, but there's actually like a technical experiment as well.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about it to me. And then if I can make a little ETH on the side with my cards, I'll take it. Do you want to talk about Honey Miner?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Honey Miner's a big kahuna. So basically, if you're listening to honeyminer.com, you can check it out. It's currently for a Windows operating system. It's an app that you can download from honeyminer.com and have up and running on your home computer in just a few seconds, basically. And you just toggle a little switch that says turn on, and it can turn your computer into a miner. And so basically, it's a product that it's actually mining the most profitable cryptocurrency, just like NiceHash or other products might do, and it's going to pay you out in Bitcoin. So that obviously is a lot different than Pepe App. This is like, a product that's it's really hardware focused. We have to really focus a lot of dev time on compatibility and being able to do some QA and keep this thing in a really good shape, as well as educating people what it is on the website. So that's been a huge undertaking. It's been kind of in this beta soft launch phase for 2 weeks or so, and we've seen some really good organic growth. And we're just put out a nice update with kind of being able to monitor your GPU and CPU a little bit more advanced setting for our users, which they're really liking, and we're starting to feel like we can start to push this thing a little bit harder and get it out there to the world. So
cool.
honeyminer.com,
I'm currently running Honey Miner on my laptop right now.
Great.
So am I, actually. And then but you can there's also going to be, is there going to be a Honey Miner Pro with my question is always,
absolutely,
can I hook my 54 rigs, my dad's 54 GPUs up to Honey Miner?
Yeah, I guess technically, if you're running a Windows operating system, you could do it now. And we really are. It's a very consumer friendly product, but it is meant to be for miners. I have a small mining operation, and you can use Honey Miner the same. It's a lot earlier than something like NiceHash. They're really at capacity, right? They're
sure.
They're kind of at the tipping point of their business. They've really captured a lot of the market. But yeah, there's going to be a Honey Miner Pro that's really, really focused towards advanced settings for people who have bigger farms. It's going to do some cool stuff like pay out in the currency of your choice, and many, many other things. Actually, we have a lot of big ideas, even considered optimizations from an operation perspective, how we can keep fees lower and kind of figure that out. So there's a ton of smart guys, a really legit team, a lot of talented people working 24 hours a day to get this thing growing and growing fast. So the Honey Miner Pro is going to be dope. I tell you that. I think we have a sign-up form on the website, and I'm working on actually putting that, putting together what a Honey Miner Pro might look like, so we can start to educate some people on that. Cool. And do some testing and things. So stay tuned.
What about for Mac? Is that down the road sometime?
Yeah, for sure. So Mac is most people that can use this, kind of the sweet spot as a gamer, somebody who has a nicer computer running a couple GPUs at home. But there's certainly a big want for Mac, and I think from just purely a user growth perspective and people being able to experience the brand is important to have Mac either way. So Mac is it's definitely climbing up on the priority list as we grow here. And I think it's going to be a pretty fun product. And technically, if you use a Mac now, everyone should know this. You could go onto the website, sign up for Honey Miner, and use your referral link and actually earn Satoshis for referring people to the product. So even in this early stage, we're trying to incentivize everybody to join up and try it out. And I think, sooner than later, we're going to start putting our heads towards a Mac based application. I think it's a must, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
very cool.
Just for everybody out there listening, I will make sure to put my ref link in the show notes, so you can all use my reference link. That's
bullshit.
Yeah, I should say too, we're something that's a little different than NiceHash. We have the ref link, obviously. We also have an XP, a reward system. So
yeah,
if you keep Honey Miner toggled on, and later we're going to do some cool stuff with rewarding people, maybe have a bigger miner, or you're a big time miner. We want to be able to reward those people. So we're looking at all that stuff, but you can actually just run it and have it on and earn Satoshis, kind of a reward based system too. So we're experimenting with all of that, but it's a part of kind of our differentiator in a user experience from something like NiceHash.
Cool.
I think that's the coolest part, is that it's so user friendly. I feel like anybody could do this, no matter where they are in their
Yeah, we had a review
mining
today
journey.
on Steam, and it was really great. It said really early in the kind of the intro, it said basically this app can be used by anybody if they just stare at the screen, for a minute.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
like your grandma can use it, kind of thing, right? And that's certainly the problem we were trying to solve, to kind of start in this niche or this market that hadn't really seen or been able to be a miner. And of course, we have all these big plays with really the Honey Miner Pro and starting to get people that have these bigger farms to use our product. And that kind of compounds with our user experience, right?
That's awesome. I'm going to show my grandmother my ref link also.
Absolutely.
We already know your dad minds.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. So awesome, man. Yeezy, thank you so much. That's pretty much all we have for you. How can people
Thanks for
find
having
you?
me.
How can people
At
find you?
Coinyeezy on Twitter. That's the easiest, at Coinyeezy. Shout out to Crypto Randy Marsh and the Whale Reports and Icebergy. And I think it was a really great pleasure to be here with you guys. I know that we kind of met through this Whale Reports project, but I've grown into like some friendships. And I think that this is a really great idea to do this podcast. And I look forward to the future of it.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and being our inaugural guest. So, Chamber, how can people find you?
At C Crypto Chamber on Twitter. I'm on Telegram, Crypto Chamber. It's my brand. I'm not trying to dox myself because I have too much money. I'm really just ashamed of my performance so far, so I don't want anybody to find out who I actually am.
That's funny.
But that's Twitter's usually the best way to get me.
Cool. How about you, Cynthia?
I am Women of Crypto on everything. Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, the Aquarium Queen. No, but my handle's Women of Crypto on pretty much every social media. But
Awesome.
Twitter is where you can find me, or Twitter or Telegram. Oh, and at Coin Girl Circles on Telegram is my own channel. Gotta plug that.
I follow that. I like to see your circles.
Who's not following?
That's right.
Come on
So,
now.
Follower. I am at BunchUBets on Twitter and Telegram, and that's how you can find me. Please, I hope you enjoyed our first show. Let us know what you thought on Twitter. I just want to sign out how I think we should probably, in the spirit of the show, sign out with the BitMEX REKT of the week. This I went on and I found the most wrecked one I could find. A liquidated short from yesterday on Bitcoin for 738,312 contracts at the price of $6,105. And then the quote was triple kill. So that is that's a pretty
Ouch.
that's
Wrecked.
pretty damn wrecked.
That's pretty damn wrecked.
So awesome. So thanks again for to Coinyeezy for coming on. We hope you enjoyed our first show. And until next time, don't get wrecked.